and welcome to The Truth Will Not Be Silenced, the show that allows people to be seen, to be heard, and to be human. I'm your host, Melissa Woodfork White. In today's episode, we will talk about achieving your best self with Dr. Tamika Ford. Sharing our stories allows us to encourage, inspire, motivate, uplift, and help people. There will be a special surprise at the end of the show. Be sure to listen all the way through for the details. Our special guest today is Dr. Tamika Ford. She is the founder of Next Level International Nonprofit, Next Level Divine Coaching Services, and Purpose Academy. She is a native of Shreveport, Louisiana. Dr. Ford is an author, speaker, and ordained evangelist and certified life purpose coach. She is also an accounting supervisor to assistant CFO, Chief Financial Officer. She is passionate about empowering and encouraging others to seek and discover God's plan and purpose for their lives. Dr. Ford is a 2002 graduate of LSU's Southern Campus, where she obtained a bachelor's degree in accounting. She is also a graduate of Louisiana Baptist University and Theological Seminary, where she obtained a master's degree in psychology and Christian counseling, and a doctorate PhD in executive leadership. Dr. Ford is going to share with us about achieving your best self. Hi, Dr. Ford. Welcome back to the show. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yes, Melissa. Thank you for inviting me back. I'm excited about it. I'm glad to be back. And let's do it.
All right, let's go into the first question. Here we go. Why did you become a certified life purpose coach? Tell us your story.
Okay, yeah, Melissa, let me start out by saying this. There was a time in my life about 13, 14 years ago when I didn't know who I was. I didn't know my identity. I didn't know my identity in God. I didn't know my life had meaning. I didn't know my life had purpose. And so I woke up every day just existing, living my life on autopilot, just going through the motions. And because I didn't know who I was and because I didn't know my identity, I began to abuse my life. And so I got caught up in multiple unhealthy habits, addictions, bad cycles and patterns, the wrong crowd, and just a lot of destructive activities. And so basically misusing and mismanaging my life because I really had no direction. I really had no guidance. Now, I went to church. I knew church, but I didn't know God. And so I didn't really have no personal relationship. And because of that, I continued the addictive lifestyle, the dysfunctional lifestyle until I was about 32 years old. I wasted a lot of time. That's a long time. I wasted a lot of time. And so there's a quote by the late Dr. Miles Monroe, and I always quote it, that says, if you don't know your life's purpose, abuse is inevitable. And that's exactly what I was doing. I was abusing, misusing, and mismanaging my life because I didn't know who I was. I didn't know my life's purpose. But there came a time when I got sick of me. I got tired of myself. I know God got tired of me. And I remember thinking that there has to be more to life than this. There's got to be more. And so that's when I began my journey of pursuing God and pursuing knowledge and wisdom and principles and revelation. And on this journey of healing and seeking truth, I became free of those unhealthy habits and those addictions. And now with the new revelation that I have and the information, and of course through the power of God, I now at that point was able to take authority over my life. I was able to take authority over my choices and my decisions, to come into the knowledge of who I was and my purpose and my calling, and to now have a vision and a mission for my life. And so back to that original question, why did I become a purpose coach? Number one is to help people because I was helped. To help bring people out of the pit because I was in a pit. To help them navigate through the darkness, to come out of the darkness because I was in darkness. to help them to tap into their God-given potential and to let them know that they do have a purpose, that they do have a call, that God has a dream for them, that their life, there's more to who they are, that what they see right now is not all that there is, that there's more in them, that there's more for them, that they have these God-given gifts and talents and abilities that's waiting to be discovered, that's waiting for them to tap into it so that they can walk in their purpose, that they can walk in their dream that God has for them, that there is a higher self, that there's a more superior version to who they are. They need to know that. And I want to encourage them of that. I want to push them into that. I want to be that accountability and their encourager and supporter to give them what I didn't get when I was in the pit, when I was lost and confused. You know, if I can help someone not to waste as much time as I did, Melissa, I'm making progress.
I hear you. I think you said a lot in sharing your story on how you became a certified life purpose coach. And just from you sharing your story, you're not only certified to do this work, you're experienced to do this work because this work stems from your own experience. So, with that being said, one of the key things that you said, where you didn't directly said it, but you did imply it, that it's
Right.
never too late. That
Yes.
it's never too late. Although it
Right.
took you until you were 32, right, Dr.
Right.
Ford? 32?
Yes. Yes.
It took you a while. And yes, this is your story. And in your story, that
Right.
was time wasted. But what
Right.
I heard from you sharing your story is that it's
Yes.
never too late. Because for the
Yes.
past 10, 12, 13 years, you have been doing this work. You have been
Right.
successful at doing this work. So it is never too late to find out your purpose, to find
Yes.
out, to stop wasting your life.
Yes.
I love that
Yes.
too. Wasting
Yes.
your life because you don't know who you are and your purpose is so
Yes.
crucial, which leads
Yes.
me into this next question, Dr.
Mhm.
Ford. How do you help people achieve their best self? And what does it mean to live in one's authentic purpose?
Okay, the first question,
Break it down. Yes.
how do I help? Okay, number one, the way I help is one of the main ways is by sharing my knowledge, by sharing principles and wisdom and revelation, because principles they foundational.
Hmm.
And by sharing these principles and this wisdom and revelation that I've used that has helped me, so now that they can apply it to themselves, to their life, so that they can evolve and grow. Because see, this is the thing, growth, and I'm real big on it.
Hmm.
Becoming is about internal growth. You cannot become, you can do things all day long, but you cannot become. Becoming is about you're evolving into somebody. You evolve into your higher self. You
Hmm.
evolve into this more superior version of yourself. And so another way I like to say it is you grow into identity, you grow into purpose, you grow into your destiny. And so if you don't have that growth, then you will never be able to become that higher version of yourself. And so, with this internal growth that I emphasize and I stress when I'm coaching someone or mentoring someone, this is what I share with them. See, if you focus on growth, not focus on I got to come out of this. I need to come out of darkness or this habit or this addiction or these people. Don't focus on the struggle. Don't focus on the weakness. I help them to focus on the growth. Because if you focus on the principles and application, you
Hmm.
got to apply this knowledge that I share with you in the books that I recommend and the videos that I recommend to help them on their growth process. But you got to apply it because application is necessary or we will see no results. And so as I'm telling them this, if you focus on the growth, then some of the things that you attach to, some of the unhealthy habits, some of the things that you got going on, I promise you will fall off by themselves. You know why? Because you outgrow it.
Yes.
You will growth will push it out.
Yes.
Growth will push it out. I promise you. And And I'm speaking, of course, from experience. And so some of those things you don't have to struggle to fight to get out. If you just grow, you can grow out of it.
Yeah.
Growth will allow those things to fall off of your life. And so that's why that's one of the main things I focus on. Start changing your diet. What are you eating? It's now because what you've been eating, when I say eating, I'm talking about spiritual food. What are
Yes.
you feeding your soul? You got to change your diet. And the first thing about to start the growth journey is renewing your mind. You got to renew your mind because the information that you're working with is not working.
Yes.
It's not working because it got you to where you are right now. So you got to get new information. You got to get revelation. You got to get principles that you can start applying so that you can begin to grow. So I focus on the external growth because as you begin to grow, it will overflow to the outside. And then people will see in your external world, they will begin to see that change in that evolution. And so another way I help with them becoming a higher self or their a more superior version of themselves is growth, of course. That's the main one, but helping them to identify their strengths and weaknesses. The
Yeah.
strengths you can build on. What are your strengths? So okay, let me build on this because if this is your strength, you can take that thing high because you are already halfway or over halfway there because it's a strength. It's something that God has given you. So you can build on that and master that. But you want to focus. The only reason I say weaknesses, not to really focus and stress on them, but you need to know your weaknesses, number one, because they don't need to keep catching you off guard.
Right.
Number two, you need to know your weaknesses because you need to know what information you need to apply to those areas. Now, one of the books that I do recommend is the Bible, of course, with all the other supplemental books. Even your book that I have is a great book with personal growth and growing, in finances and all of that. All of that is needed. And so what they can do is, like I said, once they get the information, they apply the information. And once they begin to apply it, the things will begin to fall off. They identify their weaknesses, get knowledge for those areas. So you know how to overcome those areas. And the last thing, it's many more, but I'm just gonna give some of the top three.
Right.
Another thing that I recommend is, and they don't have to, but I strongly recommend that they get a relationship with God. And the reason I say this because how can you become everything that you were created to be and you not include your creator?
Ooh,
Who
that's deep.
knows you
Deep.
better? Who knows you better than the one that created you?
Yes.
I mean, because when you pursue him and get to know him, you get to know more. You begin to understand and get revelation more about who you are because you're made in his image. And
Yes.
so I emphasize that to get you a prayer life and get you a relationship with God because he created you. And I promise he know everything about you. He gave you the gifts. He gave you the talents and the abilities. So why not add him into that equation so you can soar? The second part of that question
Well, I'm gonna pause
was how
before
do,
we jump into the second part
oh, okay.
because
Okay.
I have to jump in on some of these gems
Yeah.
you just dropped. The first thing that I heard you say is about changing your mindset. And
Come
not
on.
changing your mindset. As human beings, we tend to focus on all that is going wrong, all that is negative, all of the negative isms, the addictions and so forth,
Wow.
that we forget that if we focus our mind on that positive of how we can overcome it, of how we can conquer it, or how
Wow.
we can put it behind us, we get
Wow.
lost. And as human beings, the coaching that you are providing is not just focusing on your problems, but how to overcome your problems. And
Wow.
so, with that being said, thank you for that. Another thing is that you kept talking about some principles. I was going to
Right.
jump into them because I have your books. So, give us,
Right.
before we answer that second part of that question, Dr. Ford, just give us one or two of your principles that you focus on in that coaching.
Well, one of the principles, and of course, the number one is honor, of course, because you get, in order to really to commit to this journey, you have to honor who you are. And so, what the principle of love and honor is major to me because if you don't work on loving you, and honoring you, then you're not going to see yourself as worthy or valuable to be a higher version, to soar higher. Other principles that I focus on that I believe is so important is stewardship and management.
Mhm.
Listen, ooh, it's a big one because I did not have it. I did not have it. Stewardship is about managing your thoughts, about managing your emotions. It's not just about money. Of course, that's
Right.
a part of it. And
Mhm.
I'm working in that area, right? See, I'm always working on something. In that area right there, I'm overcoming it. The management of my finances. But stewardship, I focus on every area. I talk to them about, stewarding your thoughts. You don't have to accept every thought that flows through your mind.
Yes.
You have to manage your thought, your thinking. The ones that are not, like you said, positive and negative, the ones that don't bring positivity, the ones that doesn't bring, joy, the ones that doesn't bring correction or wisdom, cast it down.
Mhm.
Cast the thoughts down. Managing your emotions. We have to, emotions can drive our lives. Our emotions can get us into some things that's hard to get out of. And so stewardship is about even stewarding your emotions, knowing how to respond, knowing how to react to certain things, stewarding your actions and behavior, stewarding your life to the point where you guard your life. See, that's a part of stewardship. When you guard your life, you're not just letting anybody or anything have access to you, to have access to your life, because you don't know because the conversations that they have, all of the things that they're saying and doing, do you know that those are seeds that are being planted?
Mhm.
And so being a good steward of your life is also guarding your life and who you allow to have access to come in and plant seeds that you're going to have to root up because it's not a part of where you're trying to go. So those are just some of the principles. I have so many principles.
Yeah.
Um,
But you have those.
Building your faith.
Yeah.
It's just so many
Yeah.
principles I have in my book. And
And I was
if you get the book,
yes.
you will see that it's
I was just
multiple.
about to say that, Dr. Ford. I was like, you all got to listen to the end because she's going to tell you how you can get her books because I have them. And so she knows what she's doing. She's an expert, experienced, certified. She knows what she's doing. I will also say this, the principles are great foundational. And in addition to that, I have to add this in for our listeners and also our
Mhm.
viewers. Notice how Dr. Ford said that you don't have to be religious, you don't have to be this, you don't have to be that, but she gave you the option. So it's not like that she's pushing religion, the Bible, and things down your throat because she's not doing that. You have that option. What she's doing is using her God-given gifts to help people. And then if you choose to accept Christ and follow and acknowledge in your creator, she's giving you that too. Did I hear you right, Dr. Ford?
Right, right. Because I don't impose on
Yeah.
someone's life. I had to choose God. He
Mm-hmm.
didn't force me. He didn't make me. Nobody forced me. That's something you have to make a decision to choose him. And I'm just recommending him, but it's your decision.
Yes. And I love that, Dr. Ford, because you are a coach for all people. And so that is fantabulous. And so now I want to jump into the second part of that question because I know that you're ready. I know that you're ready. What does it mean to live one's authentic purpose?
So what does that look like? A couple of things. Number one, when you're doing what you were born to do, you're living your authentic purpose. When your life is in alignment and I'm gonna say, because I always believe God has a will and a
Yes.
purpose for our lives.
Yes.
And so when your life is in alignment with his will
Mm-hmm.
and God's intention for your life, what you were born for. Because see, you were built for something.
Mm-hmm.
You were born for something. Otherwise, why would you have these different unique gifts, talents, and abilities? You don't have these certain abilities. You have something that somebody else doesn't have. So
Mm-hmm.
that means there's something unique for you to do. There's something unique for you to become.
Mm-hmm.
And so when your thoughts and your emotions and your actions are in alignment with God's intention and his will for who are you to for who you are to become and what you've been created and called to do, then you're living your authentic purpose. It's when you're operating in those gifts. You know, when you're operating what you're doing and you writing your books and you in education, you were born for that.
Mm-hmm.
You're living your authentic purpose, Melissa, because you're doing what you were called. You're doing what you care about. You're doing what you're passionate about. You're doing what's on the inside of you.
Mm-hmm.
And you're not doing what other people expect of you. When a person is not trying to imitate and duplicate and be like somebody else, they're living their authentic purpose. When they're not allowing other people, society, the culture, world, friends, enemy to dictate their lives. They're not allowing society and the culture to place labels and limits on them. They're not accepting those labels. They're not accepting those limits that people try to ascribe to their lives. That's when you're living your authentic purpose. You're doing you. You're doing and operating in your own gifts and abilities. You're in your own lane. You know, you're becoming your best self. You're becoming the real you. And when you're doing what you were born to do, what you've been gifted to do, you're living your authentic purpose.
That, and you are so right about that because me, everything that I have comes from God, belongs to God. And teaching is a gift.
Right.
Educating is a gift. And I
Right.
operate it just like you said, through my books, through my courses, through my
Right.
career, my profession, even this podcast.
Right.
And so, and you are so right about everything that you said. I would have nothing if not for him. And
Right.
so, with that being said, Dr. Ford, oh, you just drop it on us. Boy, you drop it on us. I would like to, for our audience and our viewers, I have another question for you.
Okay.
So, in being all authentic selves, you
Right.
help people to find their purpose. You coach people from their addictions, all of the things that are happening to their lives to become their authentic selves, to live in their purpose, not to waste their life. So what
Right.
happens after that? That's my little curveball. But
So
after we do all of this, what happens after that?
so once you get the knowledge, you get the revelation, you got the principles, now you are applying everything to your life, right? See, this is the thing. Once you begin to apply, because see, it's happening on the journey, and
Hmm.
that's just how it happens. As you're growing, as you're applying the principles, as you're growing, you begin to see clear.
Okay.
Your discernment is sharper. You begin to sense better because see, before scales were on your eyes
Hmm.
because you didn't know you were in darkness, you
Yes.
know. And when I say darkness, doesn't have to really mean drug addiction or something, any type of unhealthy habit. When
Yes.
you're just operating outside of who you were created to be, you're really in darkness. And so the scales begin to come off of your eyes. And so now that you're growing, you're transforming and evolving without you even knowing it. You know, eventually you'll begin to see it, but other people will see it before you. And so
Hmm.
now that you're growing, it's going to you'll begin to sense now what are you supposed to be doing. It's not like somebody, because in my coaching, I don't tell you what to do. I
Hmm.
don't, I offer the principles, the knowledge, the revelation. I'm your supporter. I'm there to support you, to encourage you, to push you toward your goals and your dreams. But I don't tell you exactly what to do because this journey is about discovery.
Hmm.
You have to discover who you are. You have to discover what it is that you're supposed to be doing. Otherwise, you don't really take it seriously. You don't really see, once you discover it, it's a whole new meaning to
There
it,
you go. There you
And
go.
so once you become a higher version, because you're growing, you got the information, you're applying it to your life. So now you're making different choices and decisions.
Hmm.
And now that you're making different choices and decisions, those decisions, see, I always make that comment that I learned from a pastor years ago.
Hmm.
Decisions decide destiny.
Yeah.
We know God has given us a purpose. We know
Yeah.
all of that. But
Yeah.
if you don't make the right decisions, you will not operate in that purpose. If you don't make the decisions to study and to do your podcast and do your research and get it set up and research your books, but if you don't make a decision to do the work,
Mm-hmm.
then you will never reach that point. You will never go higher. You will never manifest anything. And so now that you've applied these things to your life, these principles and this new information, now you're making different choices. You're making different decisions. Your life is cleaner. You can see better. You can hear better. So now through those choices and decisions, you're making decisions that align with who you are. See, that's how now you walk in purpose, because for the longest, I kept saying, God, what is my purpose? What is my purpose, when I got clean and free from those addictions? But it wasn't so much about me knowing the purpose as more so of me growing into the purpose.
Mm-hmm.
See, as you grow, you're going to start knowing what to do.
Yes.
It's going to drop in your spirit. Things you're going to begin, because now you have new desires. The old
Mm-hmm.
habits and old people and the old lifestyle and old environments that begin, I told you, that falls off. So now you have new desires because you have new information, and now you've evolved. And so those desires is going to lead you
Mm-hmm.
into what you're supposed to be doing. Well, I got a desire to minister. I never knew I was a preacher. I never knew I was a coach or a minister. I had no idea, Melissa. Well, I just was on this journey to be free. I
Yes.
just wanted a relationship with God and to be free.
Yes.
But during that journey of growing and
Mm-hmm.
growing in Him and growing in principles, I discovered I had a gift to preach. I
Yeah.
was called to the ministry, but I was also called to do motivational and inspirational and to do coaching. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm not just one dimensional, you know,
Well, I will
I'm
say this,
multi-dimensional.
and you are very correct, because I will say this: when people buy your books build upon the previous book. You don't
Right,
just leave them with just one version. You take them to the next level. Each one of your books, you start off with baby steps, and then you go to the
right,
next level. Then you go to the
right,
next level.
right,
That's how you write your books. And I
right,
can say that because I have your books. And so with
wow.
that being said, Dr. Ford, our final question for today. How does sharing your story today help others? Share the work that you have done or doing. You've shared a lot of it,
Mhm.
but you are, like you said, multifaceted in your ministry, in
Right,
your yes.
right.
And so share what you are doing, what you've done, how to bring about change. Tell us your future plans.
Okay. Well, one of the ways I really believe my story helps is, number one, it brings hope and it brings faith for people to believe, if God helped me,
Mm-hmm.
listen, He can help them too.
Mm-hmm.
He's not a respecter of persons. He don't like me more than he like you. He don't favor me more than he favors you. But this is the thing. We have to be willing participants. We have
Mm-hmm.
to participate in our
Yeah.
own growth journey.
Yes.
We have to participate in our own healing journey. We got to be willing to do the work. And for the ones that want God to do everything, you got to be a participator in your
Mm-hmm.
own growth, in your own healing, in your own elevation. And so I believe my story offers faith to believe. Also, I believe it inspires and it empowers others to start their own destiny path,
Mm.
to get on their own growth journey, to go after the higher self, to achieve more and discover, hey, what I'm purposed to do. I have a calling. I have something to contribute to society. What are you contributing? What are you known for? What are you going to leave when you leave this earth? Or is there any type of legacy that you're going to leave? So I think I hope it provokes people to say, I want to get on my mission. I want to know who I am. I want to get on my purpose and growth journey so that I can become more, and then in turn around and help other people.
Yeah.
And so those are some of the things I really believe sharing my story does, that it inspires them, other people, to do better and to start their own journey, and
Mm.
to know it doesn't matter what you've done, where you've
Yes, that's the
been,
key right there.
what you've been through.
Mhm.
Your life still has purpose. purpose. And
Yes.
I really pray and hope my story offers that it speaks that loudly when you know where I come from and what I've been through, that it doesn't even matter.
Yeah.
I don't want you to start as late as I started, but hey,
Just
get going.
start. Yep.
Let's
Just
start.
start.
Let's get it
Yep.
going. And so some of the things that I'm doing, of course, like I said, I'm multidimensional. I'm
Mm-hmm.
a preacher.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a minister. I'm
Mm-hmm.
an inspirational and motivational speaker. I do empowerment sessions. I do empowerment teachings. I do mentorship. I do coaching. I do workshops. I do seminars. And so those are some of the things that I do that God has given me. And
Mm-hmm.
those are the avenues by which I get my message out. That's the way I express what God has given me to share. Because when you listen to anything that I share, that I do, there's going to be something in there about growth, personal
Mm-hmm.
growth, growing in God. Number two, identity, discovering who you are. And number three, divine purpose. So those are the ways that I get my message out. Some of the things I've done and I'm still doing, I've done conferences
Mm-hmm.
and I'm working on doing more. I had a power chat that I started after COVID. I took a little
Mm-hmm.
break last year, but I'm getting back on that power chat. It's kind of like a podcast, but I just get on there 30, 40 minutes and I share wisdom nuggets. I
Mm-hmm.
share inspiration, motivation, empowerment. I've
Okay.
done personal development classes for organizations. That's kind of part of my Purpose Academy. Now that I'm saying that, I'll just include that. Purpose
Mm-hmm.
Academy is a vision that God has given me. I'm still getting it off the ground, but Purpose Academy, the mission and the vision is similar to what I just stated. Everything I do
Yes.
surrounds
It's
is
all
is
connected.
it's all
Many
connected.
different avenues, but all connected.
Different avenues, all connected, same vision, same mission. And
Yes.
with Purpose Academy, we'll come in. We eventually, of course, I want to build it, but we go into organizations,
Mm-hmm.
and we offer workshops, seminars. You may need leadership development, personal development, spiritual development, healthy relationships,
Mm-hmm.
um, healthy relationships, stewardship, management, conflict resolution, emotional intelligence. So we can come in and do seminars if you need that. If you need motivation, inspirational
Okay,
speaking,
Dr.
if you
Ford,
need,
you've been giving us a lot. Now tell our audience how they can contact you, how they can get in touch
okay.
with you
Um,
so that they can get these many multifaceted services from you.
okay. So one of the ways, well, the first way you can contact me is through my website,
Mm-hmm.
tamikaford.com. It's
Mm-hmm.
tamikaford.com. And I'm on all the social media platforms, but that's the main way I would say, because I have where you can leave a message on the website.
Mm-hmm.
You can reach out to me on the website, tamikaford.com, www.tamikaford.com. I'm on social media. I'm on Facebook, Tamika Ford. I'm on Instagram, Coach Ford. I'm on TikTok. I'm on all the social media platforms. If you type in Tamika Ford, you should be able
You'll
to
be able to
find me.
find you. Well, thank you so much, Dr. Ford. It is always a pleasure to have you on the show. And I want to tell you, thank you for complimenting my latest book. And so
Mm.
I appreciate that. Go to Tamika Ford's website. All of her books are there for purchase. You can contact her. It's very easy to get a hold of her. Thank you so much, Dr. Ford.
Yeah.
All right, next week, we'll continue to discuss and share about real life experiences, both personal and professional, stories that need to be shared, seen, and heard that makes us human. The truth will not be silenced, to be seen, to be heard, to be human. The surprise, if you like or leave a positive comment about our show, you'll get a shout out. This includes businesses, products, services, organizations, and events. Following the link in the show notes lets Buzzsprout know we sent you and help support our show. Buzzsprout is the best way to launch a professional podcast. Want to ask a question, be a guest, or subscribe to our podcast, The Truth Will Not Be Silenced? Click on the show link. Thank you so much for joining us.